Lesson 3, Method. This lesson focuses on body method, an introduction to turning the waist in Qigong, learning how to move from the inside out rather than the outside in. This takes a long time to digest and get into the body, so don't aim to get it right or be a perfectionist. Simply move with more awareness of your bones and your muscles and how they connect the whole body in movement, and let the Qigong body slowly begin to shape. Starting from your Wuji posture, come into a rooted and ready position. Softening the knees down, sinking into the hips, swimming the spine upright, rooting in the lower body and relaxing in the upper body. Taking a step out, coming into your Taiji stance. Get a position where your feet are parallel, knees aligning with the second toe, finding that center of the center between left and right, forwards and back, and up and down. Opening salutation. Expanding Qigong. Reset your alignment, build the mounting from the ground up, rooted, ready, pliable and loose. Sink back into your structure as the arms round. Press out of the legs gently, reaching and then melting. One for your breath. Inhale as we raise up. Exhale, sinking down, lowering down, returning to neutral. And one for kelp, swimming in the ocean, moving in a carefree and spontaneous way, as if the ocean current is moving you, almost reaching towards the sun as the tide comes in, and then softening back down as the tide gently draws back out. Returning to neutral. Turning from the waist in Qigong is called the 3 basins, and today we're going to be working on the lower basin, which is governed by the navel, the tummy button. This is all the muscles and soft tissues and bones between the knees and the top of the hips here. So soften into your Taiji stance once again, into a little hip squat, pelvis like a bowl, knees aligning with the second toe. Returning the palms to monkey holds cauldron posture. I'm going to move my hands. If you keep your hands in this position, my hands are going to hold onto my navel so you can see where I'm turning my waist from. And I want you to imagine that I've got a torch in my hand and I'm searching for something left and right. So start by simply turning your navel left and right, not going too far, maybe between 11 o'clock and 1 o'clock if 12 o'clock is straight ahead. And bring your awareness from the knees up to the top of the hips, softening into the groin. One knee's going to go forwards and then the other. That's going to give momentum to a small pelvis turn, and I don't mean the pelvis turns like this. The pelvis is rotating horizontally. One hip is slightly forwards and then the other, but this is actually the navel turning from side to side whilst keeping the knees in line with the toes and not turning and crumpling the knees this way or turning and crumpling the knees this way. So you can only turn your navel, softening into the groin, as far as you've got flexibility in the hips to open and keep that knee straight. And the same on the other side, turn and keep that knee straight. So what's happening with the knees from the side, if I bring my hands up so that you can see, my spine is rotating horizontally from left to right. So my navel, sternum and nose are all in one line. And this is rotating the waist with connection. One knee goes forwards and then one knee comes back. And you must have a soft groin for this. If you're pushing the groin forwards, you won't be able to turn. If you're perching back, you're going to start turning from the upper body. So when we talk about our ready stance, rooted and ready, the knees are soft, which means softly bent. The hips are soft, which means softly squatting. The lower back is relaxed, the spine is swimming upright, all of the alignment principles we worked on in a previous lesson. And with those in play, I then have the softness, front and back, to be able to turn my waist and stay within my alignment principles. Sometimes this is called closing in and out of the qua or scissoring the qua for anyone that's any Tai Chi or previous Qigong experience. The navel is governing the movement, so we talk about the navel or the lower basin turning left to right, and my sternum and my nose are simply in one line, like the line on my shirt following up, and everything is turning together like a robot. So let's go into ancestral whiskers and keep our three basins connected and start now turning with a more conscious awareness of the body method. So when we talk about turning the waist, it tends to be the lower basin. Raising the palms up to the side, softening into your rooted and ready, pliable and loose posture. Keeping the basins connected and then turning from left to right, and the waist turn spirals the arms out. Navel driving the movement, repeating that motion of turning your navel like a flashlight or a torch left to right. Knees aligning with the toes. Trying to connect the body in motion. The arms don't move before the waist turn. Spreading your whiskers through the fingertips across the horizon. Navel, sternum and nose connected. Lower basin is driving the momentum. Be as slow as you can without juddering. Floating the arms through. And you can take any waist turning Qigong movement and follow the principle of the three basins. Staying rooted and ready, spine swimming upright, lower back relaxed, hips relaxed. Coming back to center. Lowering the palms down. Now let's go through a slight upgrade where we separate the middle basin from the lower and then the upper from the middle and the lower. And this brings us into more of the dragon or the snake body in Qigong, which has a much nicer flow and less robotic left to right. So now we're going to explore 3 basins separated. Return to monkey holds cauldron, maintain this posture whilst I bring my fingers back. So the first part is to turn with your navel. Be rooted in this posture, hold this posture still with a sense of softness. And then we'll talk about the sternum, which is the middle basin, so everything from the top of the pelvis to the base of the diaphragm here, so almost our belt line or our midriff. If my navel is here and my sternum is here, I can actually turn my sternum a few more minutes on a clock past the navel. So now my navel is here and my sternum is here. The upper basin is the back of the shoulders sliding across the back, and it's the direction of the nose. So navel, sternum, and now if I turn my shoulders and my nose at the same time, my nose and shoulders have slid to this orientation, my sternum is still here and my navel is still here, so I've separated the basins. And now I'll turn everything back to the centre. All basins come back together as one. Navel, sternum, shoulder blades and nose. And I get a much greater range of motion as long as this knee doesn't pop in. It can go forwards as we're turning, and that stabilises the structure. Weight stays centre, careful of shifting left to right, for this move anyway. So navel, sternum, shoulder blades and nose. Everything returns to centre. Navel, sternum, shoulder blades and nose. Navel, sternum, shoulder blades and nose. Return to centre, all basins together. Navel, sternum, shoulder blades and nose. So now we can apply the basins separated into elephant bays it is, and specifically the walking through the jungle. And in this movement, instead of just a waist turn, we now have a very conscious, sequential lower, middle, upper turning, and we spiral through it without stopping, always governed by the navel. So this part of the posture, our lower torso area, is the driver of all of our movements. So if we come into our rooted and ready stance, soften through the hips, otherwise the basin turning doesn't work. Soften the lower back, spine is swimming upright, palms relaxing down. And just be very soft now, lower, middle and upper. Come back to the centre, lower, middle and upper. And flow through your elephant walking through the jungle, lower, middle and upper. Back to centre, lower, middle and upper. And you'll feel now a sense of flow as you're turning around. What's happening is you're spiralling through the lower waist, the middle waist, the upper waist, and even spiralling through the neck and the head. And that really helps all of the tissues, all of the muscles gently lengthen and soften. Everything comes back to center, and as soon as we get to that center position, then we start lower, middle and upper. And the waist turning, or three basins, where we talk about it driving the movement, the waist turning to one side is actually pulling the arm back in and pushing one of the arms out. So the arms aren't moving independently, they're the last thing to move. So by turning the lower, where this knee comes back a bit and this hip crease comes back a bit, it's actually pulling the palm back, whilst pushing this one forwards, then lower, middle and upper. So try and feel into those connections in the body, that all the muscles between the knees and the pelvis are responsible for driving or giving momentum to the movement rippling through the arms. As I turn my waist to the front, this starts a pull in. As I turn my waist to the left, this is pushing this hand back. It's not this and then this. And this keeps us very engaged in the interaction between the bones, the muscles. And it can be very meditative to be in this level of deep body awareness. And in your head you may be going through lower, middle, upper, or talking navel, sternum and nose. Come back to the center, into neutral. Inhale as the palms raise up. Then exhale, slowly bringing the palms down. Splitting at the navel, relaxing to the sides. Closing salutation.